Serve, not sell is it's a really good one. I love that because you can get so sucked into all of this. Everywhere you see on social media is about I can make 10K in a day and all of that kind of thing. Atlas was my oasis. I was able to come in and go, oh, I can just deal with what's going on in here. Also, the confidence. I would have thought I would have to create a whole program first. And so to have the confidence to just send out that email which said, I've got an idea. Do you want to give it a go with me? That I would not have had that without Atlas.
All right, here I am with one of my good friends and an amazing person who has done amazing things with her business. And we've had her before on an Atlas Spotlight call, and I wanted to bring her back because she's actually done a pivot, which is a good thing. And this is what I love to talk about because when something is, I don't know if it's the right word, if it's not gelling or whatever, or something more powerful comes into your world that you want to shift and use Atlas for, I'll let you speak to that, Julie. But that's what I love to talk about because I know that there's people who think that if it's not really fitting or something's not really gelling, that they have to stick with it forever. Am I on the same page here? So first of all, actually, let me just introduce yourself, what you do now, like a short summary of what you do, and then we'll get into this open discussion. So thank you for
Oh,
being here, by the way, Julie.
it's my absolute pleasure. It's really lovely to be back. So, my name is Julie Bale, and I am a hypnotherapist and an ex dieter. And I was on a diet for nearly 50 years. Well, not just one diet, like every diet. And and I help people to give up dieting to lose weight by retraining their mind.
When you started with Atlas,
Mhm.
you were not doing this as the primary focus, correct?
That's absolutely right. So I was still doing hypnotherapy, but before I trained as a hypnotherapist through coming through the music industry, and I
Mm.
was an opera singer, oratorio singer, choral conductor, voice teacher, so everything to do with music. And the reason why I came to hypnotherapy was because of, well, really because of performance anxiety, and I wanted to help people be able to not feel so afraid. And I found that hypnotherapy really helped me to be able to enhance my performances and really achieve what I felt was representative of me, which I often wasn't able to do in auditions. So, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help singers do this, help singers and musicians just do this with hypnotherapy. And so I went through the whole of Atlas, creating this business, creating a cohort, which successfully I worked with over 100 singers.
Wow.
And yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I worked with over 100 singers and we had really great results. However, for me, it had always been about how I looked, how I felt, my weight, the struggles with my weight. And I'd always been one of these people who just searched for the next thing, the thing that was going to be the one that was going to help me to have the body that I wanted, to be the weight that I wanted. And so I tried everything. I tried it. I tried every diet. And then just one day I had a bit of a light bulb moment and thought, hang on a moment, there are these new drugs going around that everybody's taken. I don't want to take a drug. But what about it's all about appetite suppressant?
Yeah,
So surely I can do that with hypnotherapy.
right.
Using my Atlas training, I sent out a message to some friends, some clients, some family, and said, look, and you'll recognize these words, Joey. Look, I'm just going to do this thing. I don't know if it's going to work, but if you want to join me, you recognize these words, huh?
Yep.
If you want to join me, let's give it a go and see what happens.
I
And
love it.
so that's what we did. And I created from the hypnotherapy tools that I had and the ideas that I had. I created this. We had a cohort, there were 6 of us to start off with. And And we started off by mimicking with hypnotherapy the idea that we were going to have a weight loss jab, which suppressed our appetite so that we ate less, so that we didn't eat so often, that between meals became longer, and therefore we would lose weight. And that was the start of it. But as always happens in Atlas, what was great was that people would then say, but my difficulty is I don't like leaving food on my plate. I don't like,
Yeah.
how can we deal with that? So I figured out a hypnotherapy exercise for that. And lots of other things. I'm not always, I start eating and then suddenly I remember that I should have been mindful while I'm eating. So how do I deal with that? So
Mm.
assess the trigger for that. And so as we've gone along, which is completely Atlas, as we've gone along, people have said, what about this? And I've gone away and thought about it and created that, to
Yeah.
the extent that I do need to tell you that so in 9 months we've been together now, and 3 of the original 6 between us have lost 10 stones. So yeah.
Wow. Holy moly. First of all, congratulations. Second of all, I'm teary-eyed, literally teary-eyed listening to you because of the joy, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you for using Atlas. And I want to point out a couple of things here because people listening to this um, are obviously on the outside of it. Maybe some of the Atlas people are watching this too, and we'll get some inspiration of what you're doing. But I want to point out one of the things is how fast and easy, correct me if I'm wrong, the pivot was. It was like I was doing this successful thing, I'm kind of feeling it. Um, but then you just decided I just want to do this thing because it's pulling me in that direction more. Like the desire is there, that internal flame of just like this is really what I'm meant to be here to do. And the pivot or to set it all up was like super simple. Like there was no landing pages. You didn't have to build a new sales page. You didn't, none of that stuff. It was just basically a napkin. Hey guys, here's what I'm thinking. Do you want to kind of do this with me? And they're like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Am I on the right track here?
That's exactly it. That's exactly how it happened. And because of the work that I'd done with Atlas, and because of the cohorts that I'd done with the hypnotherapy,
Mhm.
then then that was it. And then also at the back of my mind was this other thing that you say in Atlas was the it needs to solve a problem that is urgent, that is right now, that people need right now. And I felt that with the hypnotherapy, for I worked with a lot of singers, but there are thousands, millions more singers, and it probably wasn't as urgent, but this was urgent. This was
Mm,
immediately people were like, I want to stop dieting. I'm the anti-diet queen now. I'm like, let's stop dieting, because it's the dieting that has got us to this place, has mucked up our minds, has messed with our natural hunger levels, has stopped us from knowing what to eat because we've always eaten what other people have told us to eat. And now coming back to mind and body is working really well. But that I've discovered through doing the program, through finding out what everybody else wants. And then when you come to dream clients, well, as you always say, Joey, on the whole, your dream client is probably going to be you mainly, so there wasn't that much of a pivot there. It was me, but it was the me who had weight struggles rather than the me who had performing struggles, so there
right.
wasn't that much difference. And I'm
Yeah.
working with a lot of musicians still as well.
Okay, I want to jump on that because you brought up a really good point. Because a lot of times, in Atlas and a lot of our colleagues and in the tribe of Atlas, we have a lot of areas that we are skilled in that we want to help people with. And you just brought up 2 of them right there, like singers and weight loss, completely different areas. And the dream client doesn't necessarily change. And this is one of the exercises that I like to do with dream clients, as you know, because you've been through Atlas, is like, who's the person first? Who's the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with or the next 25 years with? As a client. That's first. That's the person. And then, dig into that person and what are the conversations or what are they doing? And then look at, okay, what are the skills that match the things that they're doing? So you could have for argument's sake, a singer who is overweight and wants to lose weight. So
Yeah.
you chose, for example, you chose the singing part. Like, let me help you with the singing part. And they're like, wait a minute, now, my heart is really pulling me towards this mission in life to help people on this thing because yes, on the marketing side, that's more urgent, which is logical. But am I right in understanding that you had this more of a desire to, and not that the singing is not important, but because you've been through both. But what I'm hearing is that you've gone through the weight loss yourself and you know how painful that is, that is more of a draw for you to
Yeah.
focus on that problem, not the person, but the problem
It,
that you
it
could solve with your skills of hypnotherapy.
Yeah, it was my most urgent problem. I mean,
Mm,
I say urgent, it's been urgent for 50 years, but it was my most urgent problem. It was the thing. If you say, what would you prefer rather than $1 million? I preferred to be wearing the clothes that I wore before I went into menopause. I'd much
mm,
rather have had that than $1 million. And now I have that, so it's
that is
amazing.
powerful because you see, that's the thing that desire, as you know, you've been through Atlas before, and the marketing piece that many people miss is the desire to be fit and look good and not avoid walking past the mirror and like, I don't want to look at myself. That's a powerful, powerful motivator. And I want everybody listening to this that's where this goes. It doesn't mean that when you start out with Atlas that you're picking one thing and it's kind of not feeling, not that it's not successful, but it's not feeling and I'll ask you this question, and you don't have to answer this, but when you were doing the singer part of it, and you know that there's pre-fluence, there's work involved, right? You'd be in conversations and all this, right? There's work involved. And you come to the point where you're like, I'm not really feeling today that I really want to go and do this, and that's always going to happen no matter what, even in, at least for me, it is, Julie. I don't know about you, but for me, I've been doing this now for like what, 4 years straight. And there are days where I'm like, wow, I just don't have the energy today to do this thing. It doesn't mean I'm going to pivot on it, but when those things start to stack up, like week after week or a few times per month, that's probably an indicator that you're not really focusing on the true purpose of what you're here to do. What are your thoughts on that? Because you've done it now. You've done one thing successful and you pivot to this other thing.
If you'd have asked me this question a year ago, I would have said I was absolutely certain that what I was doing is what is going to be the thing that brings me the most joy. However, it's not, because doing this thing and having people whose healths have changed, people saying to me that they now have got 20 years more life
Mm,
because of this work. I work with a mother and a daughter. I was working with the mother, who was doing really very, very well, and was passing on her bigger clothes as she went down. She's down 6 sizes now. She, yeah, she's not on a diet. Let me just say, and yeah,
wow.
she's not dieting. Yeah. Anyways, and she was passing on her clothes to her daughter, who she said, "Oh, she's fine about her weight." And it was such a really difficult discussion, because I was saying, "Are we absolutely sure?" Because I don't want anyone to spend the next 20 years feeling the self-loathing that I used to feel, feeling so out of control around food, worrying about social occasions and Christmas and all of that kind of thing. She said, "I'll have a word with her." And an hour later, the daughter rang me, said, "Please, can I join your program?" And has now lost 2.5 stone herself and says she has a new life.
Amazing.
It doesn't get better than that, does it?
No, and I can feel the energy and the joy that even just through this call, like what's happening and radiating on your side, uh, because of the lives that you're actually changing. And you are, even on the singer side, you're still changing lives. They're a little bit, they can get on stage and perform and do what they want to do. And this is all great stuff. But I want to really focus on, the pivot um and to help other people listening to this. understand that it's not a set in stone thing. Even though I'm hardcore on the, yeah, pick one area, you've got all these areas to go, pick one thing. It doesn't mean that that's where you're going to stay, because at least it allows you to focus like you did. And I'm just reading this from my perspective, so correct me if I'm wrong in any area here, that you took Atlas, you're like, okay, how do I bring dream clients in? What are dream clients and all this stuff? We learned all that. And you're like, okay, this is an area of expertise. I'm going to focus in on that. You did it. And now you've got your own process, because Atlas is not a formula. It's a framework that you could build and take in and out of what you don't like and what you like, and insert, for your own little style of it. You built this business. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I'm going to do something else, because this is I'm being called to this area over here, and then taking that exact same framework that you built and applied it over here, and it just worked again, right? Without you having to really change anything except for the message of like,
It
what am I
was,
actually doing?
I had the confidence to do it because of Atlas. I had the confidence to send out that email that said, I don't know if this is going to work. These are your exact words, Joey. I've heard you say these words so many times. I don't know if this is going to work, but do you want to give it a go? And
Amazing.
and they did, and we grew it together, and it just, that's, and it's still growing now. We're still learning now. We're still not at. So what we did was we took these drugs, this Wegovy and Ozempic and Manjaro and all those kinds of drugs, and their original trials were 68 weeks long, and we all know that for a consistent and sustainable weight loss journey, you need to commit to it long term. You can lose a few pounds very quickly, but if you want to change your whole way of life, it needs to be long term. So we committed to 68 weeks because that was what they did,
Mm.
original. So we're not at 68 weeks yet. And the original people are saying, I can't wait to see where I'm at 68 weeks, because they've committed to that. So we're still learning. I can't tell you the results of this experiment, of this Atlas experiment, until July.
Stepping back, I think what really worked for anybody listening to this is that, again, how Atlas is helping you build this out. So I want you to speak to that a little bit, because you basically started again with nothing. It was like, I have this idea. I lost a lot of weight. I kind of know what I'm doing because I've already been to the Dream Oasis, which I really want to highlight that for anybody listening, because this is not about being an expert, or sorry, just an expert and knowledge. Because knowledge and expertise is cool, because I can pick up any book here and read it, and I am a knowledge expert, right? I know what I'm talking about if I study those books. Have I lived it? Completely different thing, right? So you've lived it, correct? Like, you've been through the weight loss, the struggle, the mentality of it, all that.
Yeah.
You're in the oasis, you know how it feels, so you can go back and resonate with everybody else. But here's what I'm hearing as well, and everybody listening to this, you got to hear this, is that your your ego is not there. Like, I know it all. Just listen to me. You're actually stepping down to their level and saying, tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me what you need. And then they tell you, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. And you go over here and you go into your study, and you go into your skills, your hypnotherapy, and like, here's what I'm going to do to solve this challenge, this obstacle, whatever. Correct? And you're building the program based on what they're struggling with right at the moment.
Yep, and not just we, because I'm on the program as well. I started too on day one of the program, not knowing if it was going to work, you
I
know,
love it.
and
I
I-
love it.
and I'm on the journey as well. I will finish, 68 weeks will be, I mean, it's completely ingrained now. Those people who started with me will not ever do anything else. They are on doing this now, and this is it for the rest of their lives, because not only have they lost weight, but they also are comfortable in their skins, have grown in confidence and self-esteem. Everybody at Christmas time in January, we all had this thing. I want to know what's happening in January. And in January, nobody went on a diet. And in January, nobody put on weight over Christmas. I mean, wow.
Oh, wow. That's a win right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You just brought up another huge important point. I'm so glad you brought this up because one of the secrets, if you want to call it this, it is in building a business or attracting dream clients or whatever, is to learn in public, right? And that's what Atlas is about. So you're not afraid of failing a couple things or messing things up or whatever and breaking some things. The gold comes from those mistakes or things that you forgot to include or whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the exciting thing about it. The three words that stick with me forever from Joey: serve, not sell. That's it. That's the thing. And that's what we're doing. And that's what is so exciting about it is this listening. What do we need now? I don't know what the answers are, but I will figure them out. And having that and listening to everybody, and everybody has different things. It's not set and then that's it. It's constantly evolving, and it's exciting for that evolution to take place.
So what about now a year and a half later? What do you know now that you didn't know when you first started Atlas?
Most definitely that. Well, serve not sell is it's a really good one. I love that because you can get so sucked into all of this. Everywhere you see on social media is about I can make 10K in a day and all of that kind of thing. Atlas was my oasis. I was able to come in and go, oh, I can just deal with what's going on in here, what I'm giving from here. And that was so important. Um, Also, the confidence. It would never have, I would have thought I would have to create a whole program first. I would have to pretend that I knew exactly what to do. Just be always be this is a perfect model when I don't actually know that it is. And so to have the confidence to just send out that email which said, I've got an idea. Do you want to give it a go with me? That I would not have had that without Atlas.
Thank you. And you're actually getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
an important piece because in this area, I believe that we need to be profitable from day one. It's like get some money coming in because that'll at least give you a little bit like to survive in the business. It sounds to me like you're way more passionate about this one. Like you'll do anything and everything to help people, lose their weight.
It has been such a struggle for me all of my life with this thing. I know how much it's weighed me down. I know literally. I know how much it's held me back. I know the things that I haven't done because of it, the people who I haven't approached because of it. I know the events that I haven't been to, all of that kind of thing. And I want to spare people that. And I absolutely believe in this thing. And I believed in it from day one, even when I didn't know if it would work. But now that I know it works,
Brilliant.
even more.
Let me ask you this. How does that relate to the marketing piece of it, to the conversation piece?
Either the person resonates with me because they want what I've got because it's what they've been looking for forever, um, or not. But that's quite rare because of the prefluence, because I'm going out there and telling people what I'm doing, and I'm very evangelical about it, as you can see. That by the time they come to me, they know exactly what they want. So there's no icky selling, nothing, nothing.
How easy are the conversations or how easy or hard are those conversations, whether they
There's
buy or not?
there's never any difficulty because it's just talking about shared experience.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you don't have a script,
No,
right?
no.
So it's just your insight and guidance.
Yeah.
And there might be, the Atlas, we do have like the message navigator question prompt thingy just to start the conversation, but it's not this ping, 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 answer the questions. Oh, great. Here, go buy my stuff, right? That's not what it's like. But I really want to focus in on, again, I'm coming back to your experience and because experience is different again from expertise, your experience in it, real world experience, and the fact that you know exactly what it is. So you don't have to have these these scripts or these persuasion techniques or anything in your brain because A, the prefluence is working and the people are reaching out to you and they're saying, hey, really, I really resonated with that video or whatever. Or can you tell me more about that? And you're like, hey, cool. You just have this conversation. Now, wherever it goes, but it's a natural flow. Would you agree?
That is exactly what it is. I don't have, and that's something else that I learned from Atlas as well. I don't have a script at all. I have a conversation, and if at the end of the conversation we decide that we're going to work together, then we'll work together. And if we don't, then I will wish them all the best and send them to various other places where they can find help. And that is so liberating as well. I find that really liberating. I don't ever sell.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. And anybody listening to this, if you ever feel right now that you are having sales pressure, believe me, there is another way, and you will still sell without having to sell with pressure or any other tactical or technique or anything like that. Just be yourself and have amazing conversations. Julie, I really thank you for this time. You are an amazing person. I am so honored to call you my friend. And thank you for trusting in me and my work. And what would you say to anybody listening to this, considering working with Atlas and helping them move forward?
So, what I would say is there are a million places that are advertising to help you with your business. There are so many different people, quite aggressive advertising as well, to try that will promise you the earth and not deliver. But if you are someone who really wants to help, and I know lots of people say, oh, this is about you helping people, and they don't mean it. What they mean is it's about you doing a hard sell. If you really want to go out there and serve the world, if you feel that what you can bring to the world is going to be of help to people, then this is the way for you. This way will help you to build your business in a place of honesty and integrity and compassion.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful for you. I hope that we could continue to connect. I know that you're busy doing your cohort and everything else, and maybe come into Atlas and join us just for a guest spot or something like that. It's so
Yeah, I'd
great
love
to
to.
see you, Julie.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye now.